Hi everyone. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Adam and I'm one of the leaders in the junior section of the church BB. I'm here to tell you the story about the boy who heard the call. So, let's get comfortable and we'll meet the first character. So everybody, say hello to Eli.
Hello, little ones.
Eli is the priest who lives in the temple. He has a family of sons, but they are wicked men, and this makes him very sad. However, something wonderful happened when he met a woman called Hannah.
Ah, yes, Hannah. I met her one day when I was sitting by the doorpost of the temple. She was very upset, and I actually mistook her for a drunken woman. She didn't have any children, so she made a vow to God that if he gave her a son, she would give the boy as a servant in the temple.
God heard her prayer, and because it was written in his will, she had her baby boy. And when he was old enough, Hannah delivered him to the temple to live with Eli. So, meet Samuel.
Hi everybody.
Samuel grew up in the temple back in the days when God rarely appeared to people in a vision. Eli was an old man.
Excuse me, young man. I'm not that old.
Eli was pretty old, and his eyesight was very poor.
Oh, well, maybe I am that old.
Sorry, Eli. Anyway, one evening as it started to get dark, Eli's eyesight was so poor that he couldn't see, so he decided to go to his room and lie down. Good night, Eli.
Good night, everyone.
Samuel also went to bed too. Good night, Samuel.
Good night.
And all was quiet in the temple. Suddenly, Samuel heard a voice calling his name. Samuel! Samuel! Samuel woke up, got out of bed, and ran over to Eli's room.
Here I am.
Eli woke in confusion.
Samuel, what are you doing in my room?
Here I am. You called for me.
I didn't call you. Go lie down again.
Really? If Eli didn't call Samuel, then he must have been hearing things. Still, off to bed Samuel went. But later that night, Samuel heard the call again. Samuel! Samuel! So Samuel got up again, ran over to Eli's room, and announced once again,
Here I am.
Is that you again, Samuel?
Yes, here I am, for you called me.
I did not call, my son. Go lie down again.
This was twice Samuel heard his name being called. The first time could have been his imagination, but not twice. Was he dreaming? He just couldn't figure it out. But off he went to bed, just like Eli said. Then, for a third time, Samuel! Samuel! Samuel leapt out of bed and ran down to Eli's room. He was certain he heard the call this time.
Here I am, for you called me.
And for the third time, Eli woke up, but this time he realised who was calling Samuel.
Samuel, go lie down, and if he calls you again, say, Speak, Lord, for your servant hears. What do you say?
Speak, Lord, for your servant hears.
Good boy. Now off you go.
So Samuel, knowing he wasn't imagining the voice calling his name, happily climbed back into bed. And just as the other 3 times, the voice called Samuel again. Samuel! Samuel!
Speak, Lord, for your servant hears.
And so Samuel listened carefully to the message that God had to tell him. It wasn't a happy message though. It was a scary message. Worse still, it was a message for Eli, and Samuel was scared to tell him. As a result, Samuel lay awake all night, and when Eli woke up, he called for Samuel.
Samuel, my son.
Here I am."
What was it that God told you? Don't hide it from me.
So Samuel told Eli the bad news, and he was worrying about what Eli would say. But he surprised Samuel when he said,
It is the Lord. Let him do what seems good to him.
because he answered God's call and obeyed him, the Lord was with Samuel as he grew up. Boys and girls, there's lessons to be learned from this story. Firstly, God answers prayer according to his will. Hannah got her prayer answered how she wanted, but this wasn't because of Hannah, this was because she prayed for what was in God's will. We may pray for things and get them like Hannah did, and we must be thankful like she was, but we may also pray for things and not get them, and it's important that we are not ungrateful because God answers prayers according to his will. Secondly, when you hear the call of God like Samuel, it's important to answer him. Many people hear God calling them in their lives and ignore it, but we must not do that. Finally, Samuel did what God had asked, even though he was scared to. Sometimes we have to do things as Christians that are not easy, but it's important that we do them because God commanded us. Just like Samuel took God's message to Eli, we have a message we need to bring to other people, and that is that we are all sinners and need forgiveness from those sins. We need to tell people about God's Son Jesus, who died for our sins, and he alone has the power to forgive us for what we have done wrong. So that's the end of this little story. But if you want to know more about the life of Samuel, you can read all about him in the Bible in the book of 1 Samuel. As for us, that'll do. Thank you so much for listening, and we're looking forward to seeing you all again. Bye.